While it's true, screenwriting managers are often flooded with queries and submissions, they're normally much more open to receiving them than screenwriting agents. I'm Brianna with Scriptreader Pro, and there are over 130 managers listed in this video. And the best news is that each one is looking for new writers just like yourself. Let's get into it. This screenwriting managers list is divided into 3 sections. Accepts unsolicited queries. These are all managers and management companies who welcome queries and submissions from writers without representation and without a referral from an industry professional they know. Does not accept unsolicited queries. These screenwriting managers and literary management companies state they do not wish to receive unsolicited material from writers. Unknown submission policy. These script managers and companies don't state a preference one way or the other. Hopefully, this will better help you navigate all the various managers in this list. Although, when it comes down to it, there's not a great difference between solicited and unsolicited, as you may imagine. We'll discuss this in detail more. Preparing to query screenwriting managers. The first thing you'll want to do is make sure you have at least 2 high-quality screenplays in your portfolio that are ready to send out into the industry. How do you know when they're ready? When they've achieved at least one of the following. Received high praise from an agent, literary manager, producer, or executive. Created a buzz on an online pitch site such as the Blacklist, won or placed very highly in one or more screenwriting contests, received a recommend from one or more script coverage services. If your screenplay hasn't achieved all or any of the above, we highly recommend that you do not start sending it out to screenwriting managers. They get a ton of submissions, and yours will most likely get lost among them. Don't make the same mistake as many aspiring writers by querying screenplay managers without having scripts that are guaranteed to impress. There's no point putting yourself out there with just one awesome script if that's all you have. The first question any respectable manager will ask is, what else have you got? And you better be able to show them another script that's equally as good if you don't want to blow your big chance right then and there. The query letter. Next, you'll need to craft an effective query letter or query email in most cases. Make no mistake, this pitch needs to be red hot. It needs to be short, sweet, and compelling, enticing its reader to read your screenplay. This is your one moment to shine. Include a logline, short synopsis of the script, and simple personal bio. Remember to mention that time you met at the Austin Film Festival, that referral you received, or the fact that you placed highly in the nickel contest. We don't necessarily have the space here, but there's a ton of useful information out there on how to write a great query letter. Look it up and, if needs be, pay a pro script consultant to take a look at it before approaching the screenwriting managers on this list. It may also be a good idea to write a longer synopsis of around 2 to 3 pages in case a manager requests to read that first rather than the whole script. Finally, create a spreadsheet detailing the name of each Hollywood management company or literary manager you've approached, who you spoke to or emailed, when, and what the outcome was. Trust us, this step is invaluable. Working out which screenwriting managers to query. While our list of managers is pretty comprehensive, they may not all be suitable for you, or even open to accepting your submission. Therefore, it's worth drilling the list down a little so you're only querying those managers who may not only make a good fit, but who will also be likely to be interested in your material. The obvious place to start is with the screenwriting managers in the first section of the list who openly accept unsolicited queries. These managers don't mind if you've never met, haven't been referred by anyone they know in the industry, or if you don't have any representation of any kind. They're actively looking for new writers, so there's nothing standing in your way from querying them. And there may be many of these managers hiding in the third unknown submission policy section too. Breaking the rules. This is not to say screenwriting managers who say they don't want to receive unsolicited material necessarily mean it. It's not as uncommon as you may think for writers who've ignored the no unsolicited submissions notice and sent in a query anyway to receive an email saying, "Normally we don't accept unsolicited queries, but please go ahead and send over your script." There's no harm in sending these screenplay managers in the second section of query also. After all, what have you got to lose? The worst that can happen is your email will be deleted, but if you send an outstanding query and logline, you stand a slim chance of it catching someone's attention. Screenwriting managers and genre. Another good tactic is to first target all of the managers on this list who share your genre sensibilities. Look up all those who represent writers who've written movies similar to ones you've enjoyed and are similar to your own, and reach out to them. If you have a low-budget indie thriller, for example, It's possible that the literary manager who represents Jeremy Soliner is more likely to be interested in your material than one who represents Jude Apatow. As a new writer, it's also a good idea to start by targeting the smaller literary management companies and newer screenwriting managers who have yet to build huge client rosters, as opposed to the bigger, more established managers. Smaller companies and new managers often have more time and attention to give aspiring writers and their blossoming careers, and they're hungrier for success. Sending your query letter. Once you have everything in place and the time has come to actually contact the managers on your list, make sure you find out who to address your query to and what their individual submission policy is. If they accept unsolicited queries, they'll often have specific instructions on this on their website. And just for your benefit, we've linked to those pages in the description box below. If, as in many cases, they don't, then it's a case of trying to find the name of an assistant at the Hollywood management company who you can personally address your query to. Try to avoid sending generic queries to whom it may concern or sir/madam, as this just looks like you're mass querying everyone in town at once. If all you have is a phone number or email address, but no idea who to contact, call, or email, then ask who you should send your query to. Getting personal. Once you have a name, individually craft your query to that person and either call or email them. And just an FYI, there are hardly any managers left who read actual snail mail letters. If you have a confident phone persona, calling can be a great option as it's a better way of establishing a human connection. An email, on the other hand, can easily wind up in a trash folder, be deleted, or simply forgotten about. Sending out queries to screenwriting managers means just that. You're only querying whether they'd be interested in reading the script, so avoid sending it right away. Or anything else like a full synopsis, character breakdown, pictures, and such. How and when to query screenplay managers. Most managers prefer to receive queries in the body of the email rather than in an attachment. If they're intrigued by your query, they'll get in touch and request to read either a full synopsis or the screenplay itself. Finally, make sure you don't send your query letters out over weekends, public holidays, or other times when screenplay managers are less likely to be focused on work. The best time is probably midweek. Next steps. If you don't hear back right away, don't panic. Resist the temptation to leap on the phone and call all the literary management companies you queried, demanding to know why they haven't responded. If they don't get in touch, they're probably not interested. However, there are a number of possible favorable responses to your query. A request to read a synopsis. Great, send it in. A request to read the script. Even better, ask what their submission policy is and send it in. A request to read something else. In this case, you should ask whether they want to read a synopsis or the whole script and then send it in. After receiving one of these 3 responses, it's permissible to follow up your submission after a couple of months. Again, keep the query to the point, friendly, and professional. While you're waiting, you should be writing, honing your craft, networking, and hitting up more screenwriting managers with fresh queries. If you don't hear back or anything favorable about your query, synopsis, or screenplay, then it may be a case of rethinking your strategy or the quality of your work. The great thing is that screenwriting managers genuinely want to find new talent. They need you just as much as you need them. So you have more power in this situation than you may realize. Download our Screenwriting Managers List. To download your free copy of our Screenwriters Managers List and subscribe to our newsletter, click the link below. As we previously stated, you only have one chance to impress. So make sure you have at least 2 high-quality screenplays under your belt before querying the screenwriting managers on this list. All of the information contained in this list is freely available online from the screenwriting managers themselves, but they don't like being inundated with material. Go easy on them and on the follow-ups, and always make sure to be polite and professional. Alrighty, that about wraps up this video. If you have any questions at all, please be sure to leave them in the comment section below. And while you're down there, why don't you let us know? What do you think about our Screenwriting Managers List? Do you have a screenplay manager already? And if so, how did you get him or her? What strategies do you use in trying to snag attention of screenwriting managers? If you're enjoying this content, please be sure to check out the rest of the videos on this channel and consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell to receive an alert anytime we upload. And finally, if you're in the market for affordable feedback on your script from a professional screenwriter, please be sure to check out the link in our description bar below. I'll catch you on the next video. Bye!